If Valencia wasn't your first managerial job, would you be a manager now? As in, you know, a championship job, or would you be a manager now, do you think, because of that?
I took the Valencia job, and the more I think about it, purely because of the fact that I knew the owner, and I felt like I was loyal to him, and I felt like I owed him something because he believed in me in terms of the businesses and stuff. But I'd been asked to go to Middlesbrough for an interview, Newcastle had asked to speak to me, and a couple of other clubs, Derby I think had asked to speak to me, all in that previous 3 years when I was on Sky, and I'd said no to everyone because it wasn't what I wanted to be. So I didn't want, I'd started my businesses, I'd started my media career, I didn't want to be a coach. I'd said no to Newcastle in a conversation. I've never said this publicly. It was actually someone from Sky who knew a contact at Newcastle, said, look, they want to speak to you. Someone from Sky contacted me about Middlesbrough as well, believe it or not, and said, look, they want to have a conversation with you, which I'm not saying that would have got me the job, but it could have got me the job. They were obviously speaking to me. I was on television. I was doing quite well on... When I came out of football in those first 2 years on television, I knew every player. I felt like I knew the game inside out, and felt like, I could probably come across as though I could communicate the game, which, different now 10 years out when you've distanced yourself from the game a little bit and you're disconnected. But I didn't want to be a manager. I didn't want to be a coach. I didn't. I genuinely didn't. But then I said no to Peter the first time, and then he just said, look, I'd really like you to do it for me. I don't want to bring a manager in now because I know that they'll want to sign players in the January transfer window. I went in December. They'll want to, and I just need to get to the end of the season. And he said, just do it for me for 5 months. So I went in on a 5-month contract and didn't even last the 5 months because it became impossible for him, for me, for everyone. It was. There's a point I remember him looking in my mirror in the morning thinking I look ill. I remember that.
After how long were you there?
I'd say probably that was February, probably 2 or 3 months. I'm thinking I'm ill. I literally looked at myself and thought, oh my God. But I remember we played 3 times against Bilbao in the Europa League quarter-final and a league game, and Valverde was the coach. And I remember him stood there. He played a different system than I thought he would, and then he changed during the game. And I remember thinking, I am nowhere near that.
Levels.
Honestly, and I remember that time thinking Valverde. You think about a coach on the job, because I blew my mind.
But you weren't expected to be on his level.
No, but what I'm saying to you is I felt like almost like massively inferior. And Roy, you know something? I was watching the game. I believe I can see a game from a gantry, and I can see everything that's going on, and there's no one can get much past us. But you put yourself down, stood on the touchline, and see a game where all you see is legs, or you're down in a bench and all you see is legs, and how you think of the game tactically or how they spot things, I have no idea. Because I just remember thinking, what's actually going on out there? You know what I mean? Did you feel like that? It was definitely the first time I thought, oh my God, I'm miles off this. And then I coached against Simeone. I felt as though that day he was beating me up. He was beating me. His mannerisms, his energy down the touchline, intimidating. It was Enrique, the 7-0.
Yes. Be there quickly.
That night, it was 7-0. It was the Copa del Rey. Not that important a competition to Barcelona. So they're 4-0 up, 5-0 up. And he didn't sub Neymar, Messi or Suarez. And he stood there, just what he did at the end of the game. So Enrique, and I watched him last week actually in the Barcelona game, and I was looking at him thinking, I can see why you're going to get Paris Saint-Germain over the line maybe. That night, at the end of the game, I was shake his hand. He walked straight past me, ignored me, and I thought, "You fucker."
He didn't shake your hand.
No.
Why?
So why do you think he's?
But I just thought, you know something? He's almost like
nastiness.
He's nastiness, that horribleness. I thought, you know, so he's almost like saying, "Go home, little boy." I felt like that's what he was sort of the message he was sending to me.
But you still